In this video, I'm going to show you how we took this area below my deck, which was just filled with bark. It used to be a lawn before we moved in, and now it's just bark, and how we turned it into this. Yes, I did do this project with some help, but primarily I did most of it. And what I'm going to do is show you guys how I did it. Now, I did not document as much as I would like, but I am going to show you everything I learned and everything I did along the way. I was able to save over $6,000 doing it myself. Total cost of materials was right around the $2,000 mark. And as you see, it looks great. It's not even done yet. This is like 90% done. I still got to finish the edges, but it's looking great. So the first thing we had to do was prep the land. All right, we just got to do this last little area here to the steps. There's Sheila. Hey Sheila, how are you? Good girl. Okay, and then this last little bit, we're using the hammer here with the paddle attachment, and lots of roots, as you can see. This is the toughest part, is getting through these big roots right here. Already got some nice blisters going on. Where's the blisters at? There we go. Blisters. So this footage was about 3 weeks ago, and what I did was I removed all the tan bark, and as you can see, you can actually see the black outline that there used to be a lawn here a long time ago. So I'm basically going through sod as well as roots from, there's a big redwood tree in the corner to the left. And I don't think a rototiller would have been able to go through this dirt. So I rented this power equipment from Home Depot, and it was a really, really slow process of just breaking it into chunks and then pulling up like that. And this took me multiple days just preparing the land. I had to dig deeper because by the time you add rock and sand and the pavers, it's a total of like 7.5 inches. And I am on a hill here, so I wanted to dig higher on the left side, and then on the bottom side it didn't matter as much, but that's where the roots were. So this part of the project took a really long time. So this part was just digging it up and then removing the dirt. A lot of this project was prep. Do a good job prepping, because then the later part of the project will be much, much easier. All right, so as you saw, it's not necessarily this shape exactly, but it's similar to this. And so the first thing I did was I went to Home Depot and I ordered wall blocks, and I took out the black surrounding, and I just put wall blocks all the way around. Now my hill slopes downward, so here I had to put multiple wall blocks. I had to stack them up to get a little bit of height here. And then you also want to make sure the depth from the ground to the top of the wall block is exactly what you want. So my calculations, I need 4 inches for rocks, 1 inch of sand, and my pavers were 2.5 inches. So I needed 7.5 inches of depth, right? So you want to make sure your depth is right. You want to make sure your wall is surrounded, and you want to make sure that it's level. With leveling, I just put a pole on each side, put a little line here, and I used there's something called a line level. I'll show you that. So here are the wall blocks at Home Depot. They sell them in all sorts of colors and sizes, but it's the ones that have a little lip on the back, and they're about 12 inches. They're 20 pounds each. They're only $2 a piece, and they make for a great retaining wall if you want a wall with that. But you have a bunch of different options. With those, I had Home Depot deliver them, and they came on a pallet, and it was fairly simple. This is the level tool I was talking about. Something like this should work just fine. All right, so we had our hole dug. We were level, we had our wall set. The next thing was to put in recycled rock. So this is basically what recycled rock looks like. It's just crunched up rocks. It comes, oh, there's turtles in this one. There's hopefully not any turtles in there. But it's like a mixture of rough to medium. Nothing super fine, but you definitely get like dust in there and stuff. This is all recycled rock or recycled concrete. And this is what you want about 4 inches of. Now when it comes to paver sand, this is for the leveling sand. There's paver base, there's paver sand. I just got regular old sand and it worked just fine. I had both the sand and the rocks delivered at the same time. I highly recommend calling a rock company local to you and using them, because although you won't get them in individual bags like this, it'll save you a ton of money. To give you an idea, by the way, this project was 255 square feet. I needed 3 cubic yards of rock, and I needed 1 yard of sand. And I had a little too much sand for mine. Now, again, this is not the sand that goes on top. This is the sand that goes underneath. These pictures are really not helping. Yeah, so it's more like this. The sand was for this step, which is putting the sand after the recycled rocks. All right, so after you get the rocks, I pour the rocks in first, and then what you could do is exactly how they do. Just get a board, a big long 2x4, and you could just run it across the rocks very roughly to kind of flatten them out, even them out. And then comes the sand, the 1 inch of sand. And when it comes to the sand, this is how you want to do it: is you want to put a pipe on a 1 inch diameter pipe, and then you can either do a leveling shim like this, or what you can do is I just put 2 pipes on both sides. He's doing it because he's against a wall, but if you're not against the wall, you would do it like this, where you just have 2 1 inch pipes on each side, and you run the board across, and then I'll make perfect leveled sand. And once you have your sand leveled out, it now comes time to do the actual pavers or bricks that you've chosen. Now, when it comes time to choosing actual pavers, you have a ton of options. Something that I ran into is whether or not you need to order a pallet or not. A lot of them only allow you to order pallets. The problem with pallets is it's hard to get an exact size. Where if you go to Home Depot and you do pick up today, you're going to be able to see things that are in stock and you can buy individually. I like this route better because you can return them if you don't use them all, as well as it's really easy to get them and get more. There's no special ordering, and you don't have to order more than you actually need. Now, typically you want to order about 10% more than you need from your square footage, just in case, you know, with cuts and all sorts of other things. But we didn't go that way. My wife wanted a certain, I guess people call it Basalite or Basalite. They wanted the Italian Renaissance, which is, although Home Depot does carry some Basalite, as you see here, they sell it in certain colors and certain designs. They do not carry all of their different pavers. So you might need to go to a dealer or go somewhere that has a wider variety of pavers. We went with pavers, and we went with the Italian Renaissance in the San Remo color. So that's the one this is the one that we ended up getting. We didn't do this design though. The design we used is the mega pattern. So these stones come in different sizes. We got the one where you just do a mega and a rectangle. So it's called a mega paver and a rectangle paver. That's the ones that we did. So you can see that. But I also recommend Calstone is another great company. And then as I mentioned, I mean, it would have been so much easier if we went with, for example, the Cottage Blend Tumbled Square. It's not that much different from ours. You'll notice though it is different. But if you go with one of their standard ones, it's so much cheaper as well, and you don't need a special order. So once I actually got the pavers, I started laying them in. A lot of these companies have like the pattern databases, so you can look at their patterns and figure out how to put them in. When it comes to cutting, I used this 7-inch right here, the Avanti Pro 7-inch turbo diamond blade. I did the whole thing dry cut. I didn't rent a wet saw. I just literally had a hand saw, put this blade on there. It was very difficult, but you could do it. I mean, you just got to be patient, make sure you mark your cuts, and be patient with this blade. But I have a little cheap saw and this blade, and it worked just fine. I did that whole part there. See my final design in the finished project. Another thing to note is that when you get these stones, I mean, if you buy them at like Home Depot, you can hand select them. But a lot of times you're going to get these on pallets. Just remember to inspect the pallets just in case you get a bunch of broken ones, or you might find something you're just not able to use. So keep that in mind. And the finishing touch was I used permasand. It comes in different colors. It's basically like a concrete sand. I needed 4 buckets of this to do 255 square feet. You just sweep it into your cracks and then you wet it. It's really easy to use. Once you wet it, it solidifies, and then you have perfect grout basically. Super easy to use. Highly recommend this product. Really, really easy stuff. You just blow it off and then wet it. And then the last thing, which is optional, is you can seal it. Some people like the wet look, some people don't. I like the wet look. This is what we're gonna do, but it takes 30 days till you can add this on. But you can go with different finishes as far as the look at the end, and the wet look looks pretty cool. But if you don't want that, you can go with just a basic sealer, or you don't have to seal it at all. That's totally up to you. They make a few different ones, and you can decide. So there you have it, Sheila, the wife. We all really like it. That should show you most of the things to do here. Let me know if you guys got any questions. It was probably 30 to 35 hours from going to the store, ordering, doing all the hard work. Thanks to Bro for he helped with the sand and the wheelbarrowing. You know, it was a joint effort, and we got it done. But it was great. So there you have it.
Oh, wow.
And peace out.